What is up, guys? I want to make a quick video just on the plants as it's a little warmer, sunnier day. But here's our first juniper. This plant, you can see, put on quite a bit of growth. We pruned this one. This one was the extremely long one. You can see that wood's maturing to a brownish red color, which the junipers do on those newer growths. I'm gonna let those come out because they look nice like that. So this was all the way out to here, which is pretty nuts. It was a huge plant there. So yeah, that one's pretty nice to be a little smaller, but yet still allow some growth on it. So we're gonna let them grow again this year, and then we'll shear them. We'll round them out again this next spring. So spring of 2026, we'll give them all a round out. And same with the two big big cedars, which I'll get to. These here, I don't know what, but the drip system quit working and it stressed these out real bad. That one we had to cut to the ground. Hopefully we can get something out of it, but I'm not sure. This one here grew the best last year, but you can see it's still just not the best looking. It probably needs a rejuvenational prune, but I don't know if it'll go back after I do that or not. We're just seeing what goes on with those because we left the drips on. You can see there's growths, but they're just kind of crazy. And on this one over here, didn't come back as well. Anyway, these here are the best plants in the yard. So what I plan to do with these is just give them a little shear. Come spring, I want to prune up the side growths that you see. So I hold the phone. Here's our this. All right, I'm gonna look at that and say, if I hold this here, what protrudes out past this? I'll cut everything right there, leaving a healthy bud, obviously. But that's what I'm going to do with that, so that they stay behind that line and not get pretty crazy. And around the fountains, I'll give it a good prune too. This one here might get a good prune, but I'm going to keep their height this year. We're going to see what happens if we get any blooms from that. So this one here, the actual thing is a little further out than on that one. So really, we're just going to shear off some of that while keeping that upper growth, and maybe cut off a little bit to, say, maybe right here where there's a bud right there. So we'll just go, and then that bud will take off and grow there. Some of these already have an upward growth pattern, so we're just going to try and level the plants out while keeping the height on those, because I want to see how big I can get them again this year doing that. These ones got stressed as well, but they came right back. It's the importance of having your drip systems working. Always get your drip systems working because your plants need them. You can see when I cut them last year, if I kind of get down to eye level here, see that little thicker bit at the bottom of the plant there? That's where it was, and all that is new growth from this year. This one always grows a little slower. It's a little smaller than this one. This here one is amazing with the growth. See, it's got a lot of buds ready to go on it as well. So I'll see. This one's exciting. We're going to see what's going to happen with it next year. You can see down there, some of these are already turning green at the base. New growths. Some of them are pretty red. Look how red that one is. Wow. So that's why you got to keep these pruned every couple of years. Do a good prune. I mean, you can give them a break here if you want, but yeah, these are going to be nice. They've got tons of buds set. Look at all those. Those are going to be nice. This is that other potentilla. They didn't do the best this year. I hope, shoot, we can figure that out, or this one comes back because it didn't grow at all. And these have been here for so many years. It's just that water. They needed that water this year, I think. This one here, this Mugo pine, these are coming back great. Look at all the buds on there. We might even get some cones. So those are going to be real nice. Trying to get the best clearest footage there. A lot of buds on every one of these. This one's going to grow nicely. It's going to have those nice candles on that. The fountain here, which I wanted this bush to come in and help kind of cover it over, but if this one here doesn't grow back, these we're going to have to let kind of go crazy, especially on this side, and kind of fill in. Something's going on over there, but I don't got time to worry about it. Over here, the fountain, it's pretty frozen solid. You can't even move this here thing. It moves the whole fountain with it. But this is going to be nice. I love this fountain. It should have been covered or moved away from that drip because I'm scared it's going to blow up, but it's been fine. So we'll just have to keep a close eye on that. Shoot. Hopefully it's thick. It's not leaking, obviously, but hopefully this winter gets over with quick. If we get any 40 belows, we're gonna have to take that inside or something, but in that garage. Anyway, there's the fountain. That's been one of my favorite features this year. We had a pump for it, matter of fact. The pump for it is right up here. So I custom made a pump and a hose. I actually took a little bit off this, which we found out a solution for this fountain. This fountain here actually works. If you let it drains for the first few days, but once you let that slime build up in the bottom, it actually blocks it from leaking, so it works. So that was kind of nice this year. But what I did was I took a little bit off that black hose, and I just put a teeny bit on this pump with that little spout thing on it and shot it right up here. And I have a rock on here just in case I'll need it, but I really typically don't need that. So it just kind of shoots up and it works perfectly. So that was kind of nice to have this year. And I actually ended up turning up the pressure. At the beginning of the year, you might even see in some of my videos where I'd had the pressure down pretty low. But I was like, well, I think it can go higher. I didn't want it to lose water. I wanted it to keep water for a while. And man, did it do that. So that's why I hope this ice in here isn't going to break it. It should be covered, but we just kind of like the look of it. And it's near that stupid thing there. And it's just, the drain hole is not the best in it. It's like, yeah, so it kind of sucks, but it should be okay. And there's the cord for it, which is hidden under this Mugo pine. Right there, so you can't even see it. Mugo pines. You can see here, this was visible for a long time along with this, but now they're starting to get hidden again. Look at the clusters, just the clusters of growth right here in the plant. That is amazing. Oh, I love the smell of those too. This one is just going to be one we definitely let get a little taller and bigger now that these bushes are struggling. So these ones need to kind of, I know they'll be okay because they're good. So even after that stupid thing I did to them that last time, they flipping just bounced back. So, but that was, I mean, that was just crazy. Anyway, here's these, the red juniper plants. Look at them, just like the other one in the corner. They have put on some nice fluffy growth. We'll see they'll put on a good deal more growth this year. And come 2026, we'll cut all these back. You can see there, this one's my favorite one. It's pretty smooth and clean. They have their signs of damage, like on this one here when the dogs jumped over it. They've created little holes in it, but it doesn't matter. That's kind of what makes them nice. This here one is the same. And this one. These two probably get the least sun. They're the least full growth, but they're still nice, especially since the dead bottom, because these have a dead zone. So if you don't cut them in too many years and then just lop into them to get them down to your designated size, which we did, then they're going to end up with complete dead along the sides that you do that with. So we were especially prudent not to damage the tops. So we just kind of left them longer and just cut out the sides, and the sides were dead because they were hanging out the sidewalk, because before I got pruning, no one else did any work around here. So anyway, now we removed all the dead and just kind of made it a bonsai-like effect. And same with this one along the front end here of this plant, which makes them look really nice. This plant here actually has a crazy story, and it's got some dieback on it again. So let's hope that doesn't transition or spread anymore, because it always happens in the wintertime where it starts struggling around this time. And, well, this was a nice, big, huge bush. And I love the look of it now. It's a really amazing looking plant. I helped it revive itself. But it was a nice, big bush all the way to the ground up. And it just, the whole bush was dead in March of 2022. The whole bush just completely died after the December 22 cold we had. But the whole bush was dead. So I cut all the base off so it would limit what I would see, and then I waited till spring. When I saw in spring some growth was coming back, I waited until about halfway through the year, the season, and that way that growth could grow and I'd see the full potential of what was available on the plant. And once I seen that, I was like, all right, it still looks ugly because the top's full of dead growth, but there's some alive growth. So what I did was I just went in and cut out every bit of dead growth. So now it looks like a bonsai living bush. Let's hope this, and it grew amazing this year. It pushed so much growth. Look at the front of that. And there's just a couple little sections here, but I think it's gonna be just fine. The back here, look at that. That's amazing. This one will never be pruned unless there's more dead that appears. Never will prune that one. That one is amazing. I was glad I was able to get that to come back, and it looks so nice. So that one's really nice. It did push through, at least for now, so let's hope it keeps up. I don't know, these things, they all died around town. Some people weren't as lucky as me. Every single juniper like that had completely browned after that year. And we had more here that browned many years prior, but every one of them browned in the town that year. And I think some people had the same idea as me. Some just ripped them out, but that one's coming back, so let's just hope we can keep it. These here, they're getting smashed by the snow. I regret not getting in there and pruning them. I was like, oh, shoot. But those front ones I didn't want to touch till the spring. I wanted to do the same with these. So I might have to do a rejuvenational prune on these as well, because I bet there's going to be a lot of snapped wood. And this one here wasn't doing as good either because we were screwing around with the sprinkler system. So we kind of disturbed some of the roots. It did come back. I'll have to rejuvenational prune that one as well. Over here, we've got the two sedum, or not sedums. Yeah, sedums. I was confusing it with spireas, which were those plants over there that I showed you previously. See, we got a lot of water coming in here. That's our sign of nicer weather. And it is nice today. It's cloudy, but it's always the cloudy days that are warmer. The sunny days are warm when they're there and they're nice because they're sunny, but the cloudy days, they don't get cold overnight because radiational cooling, none of that stuff happens, which is pretty nice on that. So anyway, these I need to get in here and remove some of the growth right here because it's all dead, and it actually I think is limiting some of the newer growth from making it up. I have to get my loppers in there the best I can to attempt to get all those thinned out as close to the base as I can without cutting any live growth. I'm just going to shear them all back to this little base stub, and when I'm there I can see that the dead ones are more of a brown and these are more of a lighter brown. Those are more of a black. Anyway, yeah, so that's gonna be the plan because these grew just amazingly this year, and I want to make sure they get thinned out to grow because this one's a little bit leggy with the growth, but oh, they were so amazing this year, and they're starting to overcrowd, and I got to do my best to get in there and kind of thin them out in there, so they can do their best to grow here because these plants, they just get crazy growth. But they were amazing looking this year. And this one too, it gets kind of ran off by the dogs. I'll have to take into account that damage. You can see there, a lot of those limbs are damaged. I'm gonna cut those off at the base. I'm gonna shear the plant first and cut them off at the base, any damaged limbs I see. So it's gonna be some work. I'm gonna do this in like April 10th or somewhere around there. So we got about 68 days until then. Here were these pine bushes. I had to actually, and I made some of these in September, which is just amazing looking. It adds a lot of look. Made these here, and I took them off the willow tree in the back. That was a really fun project. I think I was just using that truck over there and getting the job done, but I don't think I had recorded that project, but it was a nice one to do. See, we made a couple of these and a little seat thing here. You could sit on that if you wanted. I mean, it's a nice one. So yeah, you can just kind of take a seat there and watch the dogs, and it's kind of a nice display. So kind of dug it in, and anyway, that was a project we did do. That's when I was making my time lapse in the window, but unfortunately that ended, so I might have to try that one again. Anyway, this here, look at that. I actually really like it. I had to cut it back because the whole front died. I learned with these, they don't like pruning. I don't know what it is. And luckily they're coming back from it, but I pruned them lightly. Just with following the candles, and it left a big dead spot. Enough luckily came back where it's grown back. We can see in there the middle. So yeah, kind of just not looking the best. So we're gonna let these completely do their own thing from now on. But every plant likes pruning, so these ones not responding the best to that. I think there's probably some other underlying cause to that. But man, they're nice plants, especially in the morning sun in the summer. They just shine off the dew, and it's like a bluish tint to them. This one looks nice, especially from the gate over here. It's kind of just got its own little appearance there, so that is pretty nice. I like that bush. Anyway, there's those, and over here we have the cedars. They're looking just amazing this year. They got a good, let me think. They got a good year of growth on them, and they've already looked more fluffy. See that? That's called fluffy growth. That's what you want to trim off when you're pruning these. You can see clearly the line of the tree before the fluffy growth. Do not cut into that. You do not want to cut into that. Down there I did that because these bushes used to be touching the ground. They used to be bushes, now they're trees. And the reason I did this is because that thing, they ran through there so much times they started to die. I didn't want it to damage the rest of the tree. So I lopped off the bottoms. They were resting on the ground. It was nice in its own way, but these are also nice in their own way, being above the ground. So I actually prefer it this way. You can see the trunk structure. Now what these guys did was and I want to point this out to show you guys how kind of resilient these trees are. They have ripped so much bark off the trunks. Fred! Yeah. Have ripped so much bark off them trunks that I thought these things would die, like leave a whole dead spot. They didn't. These trees are very resilient. They can heal around that. The cambium layer in there was damaged, but they were able to heal and use the remaining bit to continue to grow them branches. And there's no dieback or anything that they experience. They all grow equally in the summer, so they're pretty resilient trees. But that's what's nice about them. They, just in that year, like I said, that's all fluffy growth. You can see the line of the tree, which wasn't. We did that project. I've got that recorded. I recorded it right on the fence over there before we had that big one up. But that there is really amount of nice growth. And we produced some new cones too in certain areas. Look at that. That's a sight. I guess you'd call them flowers, but cedars don't produce cones. They produce more like a flower. But look at that. The whole tree doesn't have them on there though. This one has more than the other one. You can see all these cedars will once in a while get a little bit of brown on the ends, but that's completely normal. That's just because, you know, certain little areas. So you want to take a look at some branches and what you notice. This here one has got a little bit of browning, probably just from cold, but it's kind of thinner on this side of the tree. But these things are just amazing looking. We've got a bunch of winter weather advisories coming in too. Oh, it's not going to be fun. But the trunks of these I also cleared up pretty intensely there. You can see through them now. Before, you couldn't even access back here because we put a hose here in the summer. You couldn't access there. You couldn't, the whole tree was around almost, it was not touching the back of the house because there was not enough sun, but somehow down here it got enough sun, or it did grow, and you couldn't get back there. And you could not, once I finally tackled, that was before I had a channel that I posted on. I had cleaned, that was actually the spring, because I started this in the fall of that year. That was the spring of the year I created this channel. I did this project, and I came back to this project multiple times because the first time, because you know how you start a project and it's such an intense project, you're like, oh my God, I got so much done. You come back a month later and you're like, oh man, this needs more work. So that's what was going on with this. First, I had started cleaning the bottom out because it was, the dogs were just smashing it. And that was when I was here myself, everyone else was on the trip. So I was here myself and I got the project done. It was in May 5th, 2023. And that took about an hour to clear each tree from the bottoms, the base. So I had to kind of navigate around all the sticks down there, but it was such an intense process. I didn't really clean anything up. So there's still a bunch of, it was pretty hard to see through all that. About a week later, I came out and saw that and I was like, all right, I got to get to work. So I got that done and then you could see better through it. But I didn't get anything. There was still dead sticks hanging back here. So about another month later, I came back and I was like, ooh, I got to get them dead sticks out of the back, both these trees. Then I was like, all right, now it looks good. But then I came in like probably a week later and I was like, well, there's more stuff in the middle center of the tree now. I got to get that stuff. I did that. And the final thing I did with these trees was up to here was mulch. I got in, took about 3 hours that day to get it down to the base there. And that's where I started noticing the tree actually started producing roots. It's been there for so long, so I left that alone, but it looks so much nicer. These trees took a lot of time. I want to show you guys the trunk structures of both these trees. This here one, it's got a ton of amazing trunks that kind of branch out into the top of the tree. It's just amazing. You don't see anything like it. And they've got a bunch of low shooting branches that come out into the top, which is, they can't run under this one because of that. But anyway, that's that trunk structure. I'm gonna show you from the front now. This one I would say is a little cleaner than the other one in terms of structure. And there's the bottom. Oh, right there. Ah, look at that. And then over here, I want to start you off with the front. See, right here, look at all, before I do that, look at all of the walking and running these dogs do across this fence line. That's damaging both. Potentially, that's a threat to these two limbs and that bush over there. But that's what you get with dogs. Because they see this neighbor's dog and they just go nuts. Especially right around here. This is where the noise comes from in this yard. Anyway, you see just how much running is going on there. Anyway, there's that tree. And that's probably creating a little bit of root compaction as well. And I'm not really concerned about that because the roots of this tree probably go so far underground. It's so established, that's not an issue. You can already see little larger of a trunk there. Let me show you the other one. Yeah, a little larger of a trunk. Now, if we go back there, which because of this, I'm trying to get these to grow. They sucker all over the place. I want to establish a couple plants so that maybe it'll calm down on the suckers. So I'm trying to do that. I couldn't do that before with them dogs, so I put up this gate and tied it to these garden stakes, and we're hoping that'll turn out there. So this tree, which is a very hard access point now, and this new gate that's up is amazing. I probably made a video. Ooh, ouch, 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 ouch. Probably made a video on that, but this has been a safe thing because they've actually went over and bit the neighbors. Our dogs have, not aggressively, just per playing, and this fence has saved us. So anyway, here is this tree. Look at that structure. See if I can get over in a better corner here. See just how much more limbs exist in here. It's kind of hard to show you because let me put on my 0.5 lens. Yeah, look at that. A little more limbs coming out of this tree. For comparison, because I've been talking a while, let me show you this one again. Yeah, this one's quite a bit cleaner. They branch out in the top because some of them split into two. You can see there was some cut limbs, but I could talk for a while about those. And the last thing I want to cover is these here. Didn't talk about them too much. These are just the planted suckers, and I put the fence up. They've got buds. See there, little teeny ones. Kind of hard to see, but they're looking scrawny as crap right now. But I hope they can grow and we can get them into something, especially the center one. Get it into something. That's my goal here, and they don't just droop all over. That's my goal. I got to make a video on those over there too, because those are going to be fun to watch in the summertime. Grow again, because I watched those start from nothing. So anyway, and then the planter here, which has been gone for some time. One of those trees survived over there. Don't know how much longer. Well, I didn't have much resources. It was a bare root tree. We dug it out, had to cut some roots and planted it, and it was in different soil, a crazy area. So I don't know how it's going to turn out. You can kind of see it over there, right there. It is green. It's got a little bit of buds. They look a little drier than they normally do, but we might get some luck with that. The other one though, the mini one, little one, did unfortunately die. So I don't know if I recorded that project on here. I know I got it off that Ring camera, and I recorded on the Ring footage camera, or channel, but off that camera. But we'll just see kind of how that goes with that tree over there. But it's been nice over here. We got a couple sticks and rocks as decorations. So anyway, that is an update of the yard. So we will see you guys in my favorite plants of all, right there. Those Mugo pines. Those are just amazing. Both of them got a little bit of a different growth structure too. This one I noticed kind of opens up the blooms more. It's more tight. This one over here is more loose looking. So they both got their natural shape. This here one now, since these are kind of in demise, I want this one to just grow like crazy. This thing, I want it to be like that tall. So we're just going to let that one do its thing. This one here I might do very slight pruning on certain candles, but overall I want these to grow again. Now that they're not in the way of this big bush, and even if that bush hopefully does come back, I'll have more control over these, since I didn't do anything before, no one else did either. So they were all uneven. This side was half huge, and this side had nothing because this bush was covering it. So, and that was similar with this one. This thing was huge, and I took them so far back. But we're just gonna see this over here. You can see the base of the stems are turning green. That means life is already coming into them. They're kind of already, since, ooh, spring's almost here in 5 months, 4 months. So, actually it's only 3 months till stuff really starts kind of firing up. But they're already sensing that, and they're already like, ooh, let's wake up a little so we can see what the temperature is. But you'll notice when spring comes, it's going to turn from red, and they're all going to turn like kind of a greenish again. So those are pretty cool plants for that. Anyway, and we got the daylilies under here, which are already cut back. They should just grow in next year. So anyway, that's all the plants. I'm out of breath. So we'll see you guys in the next one. Probably make another one of these videos in maybe mid-March.